150 sailors, one submarine, 90 days underwater without seeing sunlight. But here's what most people don't know. The deadliest thing on that submarine isn't the cramped quarters or the psychological isolation. It's the arsenal of weapons capable of ending civilizations before the enemy even knows they're there. Right now, beneath the surface of the ocean, American submarines are carrying enough firepower to reshape the world. These aren't just weapons. They're strategic nightmares wrapped in steel, hidden in the deep, waiting. Let me show you exactly what's lurking down there. Chapter 1. The ultimate doomsday weapon, the Trident. 2 D5 ballistic missiles sits inside Ohio-class submarines like a coiled viper. Each submarine carries up to 20 of these monsters. 20 intercontinental ballistic missiles that can reach any target on Earth from the middle of the ocean. Think about that for a second. One submarine. 20 missiles, each missile carrying multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles. That's military speak for warheads that can split apart mid-flight and hit separate cities simultaneously. The range? Over 7,000 kilometers. That means a submarine sitting off the coast of Norway could hit targets in Asia. A boat patrolling near Hawaii could strike anywhere in the Middle East. The entire planet is within reach. But here's where it gets truly insane. These submarines don't need to surface. They don't need to get close. They can launch from international waters, from depths where no one can see them coming, and deliver their payload before any defense system even registers the threat. The Trident D5 is the backbone of America's nuclear triad. It's the weapon that keeps adversaries awake at night. Because unlike land-based missiles that can be tracked, unlike bombers that can be shot down, these submarines are ghosts. They disappear into the ocean for months at a time, constantly moving, impossible to find. One Ohio-class SSBN carries more nuclear firepower than most nations' entire arsenals. Let that sink in. A single boat, crewed by 150 sailors, holds the power to alter human history. Yet the Trident isn't the weapon that actually gets used in combat scenarios. For that, you need something else entirely. Chapter 2. The Ship Killer. The Mark 48 ADCAP torpedo is what submarine crews train with constantly. It's what they dream about firing. It's the weapon that turns theory into reality. Every US submarine carries these heavyweight torpedoes. Attack boats, guided missile boats, even the ballistic missile submarines have them. Because when things go wrong underwater, when an enemy submarine gets too close or a surface ship becomes a threat, the Mark 48 is what saves your life. This isn't some dumb projectile. The Mark 48 is a hunter. It's wire-guided, meaning the submarine maintains control after launch, steering it toward the target like a remote-controlled predator. But it's also smart enough to think for itself. Active and passive acoustic homing, advanced digital processing, countermeasure technology. The torpedo can distinguish between a real target and a decoy. It can adapt mid-hunt. It can chase down ships trying to run and submarines trying to hide. The warhead is designed for one purpose: catastrophic kill. It doesn't just punch a hole in the hull, it detonates beneath the keel, breaking the ship's spine. The shockwave lifts multi-thousand-ton vessels out of the water and snaps them in half. Submarine crews practice this scenario endlessly. The approach, the firing solution, the moment of launch when the torpedo leaves the tube and begins its hunt. Because in actual combat, you get one shot, maybe two. After that, the enemy knows you're there and the hunted becomes the hunter. The Mark 48 has been in service for decades, but it keeps getting upgraded. New software, better processors, enhanced guidance systems. Because the ocean is getting more dangerous and the submarines hiding in it are getting quieter. This is the weapon that actually sinks ships. This is what turns a submarine from a surveillance platform into a killer. But what if you need to strike a target on land? What if the enemy is 1,000 kilometers inland, sitting in a bunker thinking they're safe from the ocean? Chapter 3. The Precision Strike. The Tomahawk cruise missile changes everything. It turns submarines into mobile strike platforms capable of hitting targets deep inside enemy territory without warning. Los Angeles-class, Seawolf-class, Virginia-class attack submarines all carry Tomahawks. But the real monsters are the Ohio-class guided missile submarines. These converted ballistic missile boats carry over 100 Tomahawks each. 154 precision-guided cruise missiles on a single platform. Think about what that means operationally. One submarine surfaces its launch tubes in international waters. Within minutes, it can unleash a barrage of cruise missiles that will hit command centers, airfields, radar installations, and weapons depots hundreds of kilometers away. The Tomahawk flies low, sea-skimming altitude, terrain following flight paths. It hugs the ground, weaving through valleys, avoiding radar detection until the final seconds before impact. Range is roughly 1,000 kilometers depending on the variant. That's enough to sit safely offshore and strike deep into hostile territory. The submarine never has to enter dangerous waters. It never has to risk detection. It just launches and disappears back into the depths. During the opening hours of a conflict, these submarines would be the first to strike. Before the bombers arrive, before the surface fleet moves into position, the Tomahawks would already be hitting their targets, crippling enemy defenses, creating chaos. And the enemy would have no idea where the attack came from. No warning, no time to respond, just explosions tearing through their infrastructure while a submarine 500 kilometers away slips quietly back underwater. But even the Tomahawk is about to become obsolete, because the Navy is fielding something that makes cruise missiles look slow. Chapter 4. The Hypersonic Revolution. Conventional prompt strike. 3 words that represent the future of submarine warfare. These are hypersonic weapons. Boost glide missiles that travel at speeds traditional defenses can't intercept. They don't follow ballistic trajectories that radar can predict. They maneuver. They adjust course mid-flight. They're designed to penetrate the most advanced air defense systems on Earth. The Navy is installing these weapons on Virginia-class Block 5 submarines. 4 large-diameter payload tubes in the Virginia payload module, each capable of carrying hypersonic missiles. Imagine the tactical advantage. A submarine sitting undetected off the coast. The enemy has layered air defenses, S-400 systems, advanced radar networks, interceptor missiles, everything designed to shoot down incoming threats. Then the submarine launches. The hypersonic missile accelerates to speeds where interception becomes nearly impossible. It maneuvers unpredictably. It arrives at the target before the enemy can react. This isn't science fiction. The USS Zumwalt is already being fitted with 12 conventional prompt strike missiles. The Virginia-class submarines will follow. By the end of this decade, American submarines will carry weapons that can strike anywhere, anytime, with almost no warning and virtually no defense. The strategic implications are staggering. High-value targets that were once considered safe behind layers of air defense are suddenly vulnerable. Command bunkers, mobile missile launchers, naval bases, all of it within reach of a submarine that no one can find. But there's one more weapon system that's coming back, one that was retired and is now being reconsidered because the world has gotten more dangerous. Chapter 5. The Nuclear Option. The Nuclear-Armed Sea-Launched Cruise Missile, SLCMN in military terminology. A weapon that was retired after the Cold War and is now being debated for return to the fleet. Why bring back a nuclear cruise missile when submarines already carry Trident ballistic missiles? Because strategy isn't just about massive retaliation. Sometimes you need options. Flexible response. A weapon that's more than conventional but less than civilization ending. The SLCMN would give attack submarines a theatre-level nuclear capability, a lower yield option for regional conflicts, a weapon that sends a message without triggering full-scale nuclear war. It's controversial. Arms control advocates argue it lowers the threshold for nuclear use. Military planners argue it fills a critical gap in deterrence. The debate continues in Congress and the Pentagon. But the fact that it's even being discussed tells you something about the current threat environment. The world is more unstable than it's been in decades. Great power competition is back, and submarines are once again becoming the ultimate strategic weapon. Chapter 6. The Invisible Advantage. Here's what makes all of these weapons truly deadly. It's not just the firepower, it's the platform carrying them. Submarines are invisible. They can patrol for months without surfacing. They can reposition anywhere in the world's oceans within days. They can sit off an enemy coast completely undetected, waiting for orders. The enemy knows American submarines are out there, they just don't know where. That uncertainty is a weapon in itself. It forces adversaries to defend everywhere because they can't predict where the strike will come from. A surface ship can be tracked by satellites, an aircraft can be detected by radar, but a submarine 400 meters below the surface? It's a ghost, silent, patient, lethal. The weapons I've described are devastating on their own, but mounted on a platform that can't be found, that can strike without warning from any direction, they become something else entirely. They become strategic nightmares. Chapter 7. The human element. But these weapons don't fire themselves. Behind every torpedo, every missile, every strategic system, there are sailors. Young men and women who volunteered to spend months underwater, isolated from the world, carrying the weight of these weapons. They train endlessly. Fire control drills, emergency procedures, weapons handling, because when the moment comes, there's no room for error. A mistake with a Mark 48 torpedo could sink your own boat. A miscalculation with a Trident missile could start a war. The psychological pressure is immense. You're living in a steel tube with the most powerful weapons on Earth. You're cut off from your family, from sunlight, from any sense of normalcy. And you're doing it because someone has to. Because these weapons need to be out there, hidden in the deep, maintaining the balance of power. Submarine crews don't talk much about what they do. Operational security, classified missions, but also because most people can't understand what it's like to live with that responsibility. To know that your boat carries enough firepower to change the world, and that you might be called upon to use it. Chapter 8. The future of undersea warfare. The weapons are evolving. Hypersonics are just the beginning. The Navy is researching directed energy weapons, advanced autonomous systems, even more sophisticated torpedoes with artificial intelligence. The submarines themselves are getting quieter, deeper diving, more capable. The Virginia-class boats are technological marvels. The Columbia-class ballistic missile submarines now under construction will be even more advanced. But the fundamental truth remains unchanged. The ocean is vast, submarines are nearly impossible to find, and the weapons they carry are devastating. Right now, somewhere in the Pacific, an American submarine is on patrol. The crew is going about their daily routine. Watches are being stood, meals are being served, equipment is being maintained. And in the weapons bay, the torpedoes sit ready. The missile tubes stand loaded. The fire control systems are online. That submarine is a promise, a guarantee, a silent threat that keeps potential adversaries from making catastrophic mistakes. Chapter 9. The reality. So what's the deadliest weapon on a US submarine right now? Strategically, it's the Trident D5. Nothing else comes close to its destructive potential. It's the weapon that underpins nuclear deterrence and prevents great power war. Tactically, it's the Mark 48 ADCAP. It's the weapon that actually gets used in combat scenarios. The ship killer, the submarine hunter, the tool that turns theory into reality. Operationally, it's the Tomahawk, with hypersonics coming fast. These are the weapons that give submarines the ability to strike deep inland, to cripple enemy infrastructure, to change the battlefield before the enemy even knows the war has started. But the real answer? The deadliest weapon is the submarine itself, the platform, the invisibility, the ability to appear anywhere, strike without warning, and disappear back into the depths. These boats carry more firepower than most nations' entire militaries. They're crewed by some of the most highly trained sailors in the world. And they're out there right now, hidden beneath the waves, maintaining the balance of power that keeps the world from descending into chaos. The ocean covers 70% of the Earth's surface. Beneath those waves, American submarines patrol with weapons that can reach any target on the planet. That's not just military capability. That's strategic dominance. And that's why submarine sailors say there are only two types of ships: submarines and targets. We are committed to releasing 3 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more Anchor Watch.